Our view of the world tends to be pretty static. We kind of tend to think that countries are where they are, the earth is the way it is, the continents are where they are, and we have kind of an image of the globe as kind of fixed. And obviously, that's not true. That's not how it really is. And anyone who's looked at the history of the globe knows that things haven't always been that way, and they won't always be the way they are now. It's just that it's pretty clear that we don't live that long compared to how long the Earth's been around. And so it's hard for us to really understand that things on such a massive scale could be so different than they are now. So it's hard for us to imagine. I'm not blaming anyone for that, but it's definitely not the way that we think it is. And it's not always the same. It's constantly moving and changing. And we feel that when there's an earthquake or something like that. So we definitely are kind of aware of this. But as a human who lives less than 100 years generally, it's pretty hard to relate to these big changes that happen over a long period of time. And I saw this article the other day about a big change that happened on the Earth a long time ago that I wasn't aware of before, so I wanted to share it with you. And so Yahoo News says that Earth tipped over on its side 84 million years ago and then righted itself, a new study finds. They say that Earth tipped over on its side and back between 79 million and 86 million years ago, a study shows. The planet tilted by 12 degrees. Here's the interesting part for me, which would have moved New York City to where Florida is right now. So a lot of people have left New York for Florida recently, and apparently 86 million years ago or so, New York City was actually where Florida is now. And then it bounced back. So that's really interesting too. It says that Earth's crust can shift like this depending on how weight is distributed across the planet's surface. And so if you'd been able to stare at Earth from space during the late Cretaceous period, when Tyrannosaurus rex and Triceratops roamed, it would have looked like the whole planet had tipped over on its side. According to a new study, Earth tilted by 12 degrees about 84 million years ago. A 12-degree tilt of the Earth could affect latitude that same amount. Sarah Slotsnik, a geobiologist at Dartmouth College and co-author of the new study, told Insider. It would approximately move New York City to where Tampa, Florida is right now, she added. And so the Earth kind of tilted 12 degrees about 84 million years ago or so, according to this new study. And what's really interesting is after a while, it actually bounced back to where it is basically now, I guess. And they go on to describe it as kind of like the Earth's crust, the outer couple of layers, are kind of like a rubber band. So if it gets stretched, it kind of comes back as well. So that's what they're talking about here. And let's continue with this Yahoo article. And they say that the study authors examined the magnetic alignment of ancient limestones they collected from Italy and found Earth's crust was moving about 3 degrees every million years during its tilt and its tilt back. So it didn't just all happen in one day. It happened over the course of 3 degrees every million years. So to get to 12 degrees, that's what, 4 million years or so? So it happened over a longer period of time than just instantaneously. But that is a pretty significant change over that relatively short period of time, considering the entire history of the Earth. For us, it's a long time, 4 million years. We can't even fathom that. But in the history of the Earth, it's a blink. And Ross Mitchell, a geophysicist at the Chinese Academy of Sciences and Slotsnik's co-author, told Insider that we never suspected that we would see this full round trip event where the Earth went one way and then it bounced back. It's very interesting. So then it says that a sinking tectonic plate may have caused Earth to tilt. Imagine that the Earth is like a spinning top. If the top's weight is evenly distributed, it should whirl perfectly without any wobbling. But if some of the weight were to shift to one side or the other, that would change the top's center of mass, leading to a tilt towards the heavier side as it spins. According to Slotsnik, upwellings of hot rock and magma known as mantle plumes from the outer core towards the crust may have played a role in altering how Earth's mass was distributed during the late Cretaceous. But Mitchell said shifting tectonic plates could explain Earth's 12-degree tilt in ancient times. When hotter, less dense material from deep within the mantle rises toward the crust, and colder, denser material sinks toward the core, these plates can collide. Upon impact, one plate will subduct or sink under another. Prior to the Cretaceous period, the Pacific Plate, the largest tectonic plate on Earth And I didn't know that before, but it makes sense. So that's the tectonic plate basically under the Pacific Ocean. It's the largest tectonic plate on Earth, spanning 40 million square miles under the Pacific Ocean. Yeah. Was sinking under another plate to its north. Around 84 million years ago or so, the Pacific plate started subducting in a different direction under another plate to its west. And this change might very well have changed the literal balance of the planet, Mitchell said. He wasn't surprised to find that the Earth had reversed course and then tilted back. The planet's outer layer behaves elastically like a rubber band and would have snapped back to its original shape after the excursion, he said. So while it's hard for us to perceive because we only live about 100 years or less or so, the Earth is constantly in a state of moving and changing and shifting around. And so that's the reality that's underneath our feet, even if it doesn't seem that way. And if you want to talk about a little interesting nugget like this every single morning, I post a new video every day at 7 a.m. Eastern. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you join me for the next one as well. And either way, I'm Jim Wolf, and I will talk to you later.